Okay, some really hard presentations to follow. I'm not going to be going with a presentation because what I'm going to be telling you is a lot more anecdotal, and it is targeted a lot more towards pre-service teachers. A little bit about me: I'm a first year out teacher right now, and when you're a first year out teacher, there are so many things that are going on in your school. Okay, so even before you entered and whether you leave or not, there's going to be things like enrichment programs that the school is doing. There are programs that schools do to help students whose numeracy is low and things like that. But at the same time, when you go into your own classroom, you have your own things that you want to share with your students. So for me, one of those things is that I want to show them the beauty of maths as a dynamic subject, and I also want to give them opportunities to engage in problem-solving activities. So what I tend to hear a lot of the times, "Oh man, Mr. Ashok, it's last period on a Friday afternoon. Do we really have to do work?" So that's my kids' concerns. But what's my concern? My concern is to give them opportunities to look at mathematics as a syllabus that goes beyond to look at mathematics as a subject that goes beyond the syllabus. So one thing that I've managed to do to keep the students engaged and to give them opportunities to look at mathematics in different ways is to have problem-solving type activities. So what I tend to do is I actually split the class up into 5 groups, and I give each group with a copy of a problem-solving type activity. So the current one that I'm using is by APSMO, Australian Problem-Solving Maths Olympiad. Has anyone heard of it? Can I just get a... Some of you have? Okay, so what these guys do is they actually have a book of past paper competition sheets. So I give a copy of these to every single student in my class, and I get them to work through it as a group. So the first few questions, it doesn't take too long, but it's meant to be non-calculator, and you'll be really surprised to see how many students struggle with non-calculator type activities. So I get them to do these as warm-up, and once they get towards the last ones, where it's 6 minutes or 5 minutes, I get them to choose one of the questions from that, and then I get them to come up with as many different approaches as possible. Then one person from each group comes up to the front, they introduce their problem, they introduce the solutions that they came up with. And after that, what I also want to do is I want to encourage them to communicate, because that is one of the working mathematically outcomes, which you shouldn't necessarily restrict to assessment tasks. So what I tend to do is I get students who finish early to move on and look at the other sets as well, so that they've had an opportunity to engage with the problem as well. So when students are presenting, I actually have students who are giving any other solutions that they came up with, or they're asking some questions or comments. So that was just the basic idea that I wanted to share with you, because you won't necessarily have time to do this for every single class in your school. You need to start with a little step, and your practicum experiences can be a great opportunity. Because for me, in my first year of prac, I was able to trial something called lesson starters and how I can actually work with. And last year I was able to do some problem-solving type activities, and now I'm able to use it in my own classroom in a better fleshed out way. So that's what I've been doing in term 1. So where do you go in term 2? Now, I've only done this with one of my classes as a bit of a pilot project. So if you're a teacher who has your own class, then you can do a pilot, and then the following term, so next time I'm going to start it with my year 8 classes, and those who have already done this, I'm going to introduce them to a little bit of coding, because they've got into a routine of doing problem solving as a pen and paper task, so I want to introduce them to looking at maths and connections with other subject areas as well. So that was my basic idea. Thank you.
Thank you.